Okay, here we are, getting ready to get our panel together. So you see I've transferred the location of the circles where the instruments are going to go onto the backer sheet. And then we'll just take our hole punch. Looks like here we've got a turn and bank indicator. Actually, that's what this is. This one, well, it's the same thing, only it's the ball indicator with the needle, and then this one has the sort of the artificial horizon with the slip ball below that. We'll use either one of these. Can't really tell what that is or what that is. It's not super critical that these instrument dials be accurate. Now I do see an altimeter. It's an altitude indicator. And again, it does not have to be perfect. In other words, the instruments we're using are just representations. Although I'm pretty sure I won't be using a Mach indicator. Don't think the Aranca had Mach capability. But there's a climb inclinometer. It tells us, rate of climb. That's probably a good one to have. Just if we're gonna be that way about it. All right. So then here's our white glue. And again, all we're doing here is that's probably a little much. Doesn't take much to get these to stick. What you don't want is a whole lot of glue smearing out on the ends. All right, so we'll use our slip ball indicator, and that'll go here. Where is our rate of climb indicator? That's this one. Drop that one in right here. This looks like a radio ADF. And while this airplane probably did not have ADF when it came from the factory, a lot of pilots had them on after. And we'll call this one an altimeter. Tells our pilot his altitude as he's flying along. And those will be our 4 primary instruments down here, as would be typical. And above, these faces are small. They're restricted by the view of these instruments to be restricted by the size of the dial aperture, so I'm not too concerned about what I'm putting here being accurate or inaccurate or what have you. All we want to do is make sure that when we place this over the top, after we drop our acetate, we're going to drop acetate. I'm going to put our acetate sheet in there in the middle, and then this over the top. We just want to make sure we've got instrument faces where they need to be. And then the last thing I want to do is I'm going to draw, outline each of these with black, just to make sure that essentially everything we see through those ports is going to be either black or white, and not too much white, mostly black. You say, well, why don't I just paint or make the backer sheet black? Well, you can't really see positioning of your instrument dials if it's all black. It has to have it. It's white for a reason when I start out. But there you see, those will be our instrument dials, and again, it will appear as if there's glass after I cut this out. Let's find a place that's not too scratched up. Where it actually is fine, looks like. Okay, so we'll cut out our acetate. This actually came from a pack of AA batteries. You can use any clear acetate. Sometimes food packaging, other packaging, any kind of packaging actually that involves a clear acetate or bubble plastic blister pack. I wanted to say not bubble wrap. Blister pack will do, and as long as it's flat, relatively uniform in thickness, not too thick, and clear. Sometimes this stuff will yellow over time, but these dial faces are pretty small, and in fact, even if that does happen, it's okay. It won't be the end of the world for anyone. What I like to say, nobody's going to die on the operating table if your acetate clears or yellows over time. Big deal. Alright, so there's your acetate, and again, you don't want it to interfere with the notches you cut out for the part to fit the way it's supposed to on the airplane. So we just want to, there we go, see that? I don't know if the camera angle and the lighting is right, but glass instrument panel. So before any of this is assembled now, I'm going to paint this black, right? And again, the time to put the rings on is before you paint, right? I'm going to make one more cut here. We'll just go across the bottom, hopefully in a straightish line. You know what? Let's do it this way. I can take a lot off the bottom here, because it'll still cover the dials. All I want to do is make sure I'm not interfering with those cutouts where the part rests on those side keels, and I think we got it here. So yeah, here we go. So yeah, we're above the limit line there. We're not going to interfere with our layup in any way. The part conforms to the shape that it needs to conform to here. So we should have a nice clean assembly. At this point I can glue our acetate to our backer. I'm just not going to glue the panel face to it yet. It needs to be painted first. But that's how we make these things. Piece of cake. Nothing hard about it. All right. Keep the adhesive well away from our instrument dials. We don't want any fogging. I'll take this and just drop it on here. Could have been better. It didn't really fall where I wanted it to, so I'll have to do a little trimming. It's funny. Normally I have a little bit of time to position this, and this time it just set right up. Did me wrong. That's alright, we'll just trim that off. clean up this side here. Alright, so I'll talk to you guys later. I'll clean this up and I'll show you the final outcome.